Hello there, you're welcome to my Beautifier Community Youth Uganda. I am your host, Jamesboy Imani. Today I'm going to share with you something short about that comes from Genesis chapter 19, from verse 1 to verse 26. It's basically a story about Lot. Lot was the nephew of Abraham, and of course it reached a time they had to separate because they had a lot of disagreements, their people, their families, because of mixed property and all that. So Lot chose to go to a side towards Sodom, and Abraham remained on the side of Canaan. Of course, it reached a time God was so angry about Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm sure most of you are conversant with that story. Sodom and Gomorrah was a city of so much sin and blasphemy against God. There was a lot of terrible actions that happened there, things like homosexuality, immoral sexual behaviors. There was so much. And God reached a time and he was fed up and he wanted to destroy this place. But Abraham, of course, pleaded with God to spare Lot. And also Lot himself was a righteous man. He was considered a righteous man. Though he lived among the sinners, he lived in a wicked city. So God had mercy on him and sent angels who came in form of men. And it's a long story, but they came to find a way to rescue them before the city was destroyed. And of course, Lot and his two daughters and the wife were helped to be evacuated by the angels. They helped to evacuate them. But they reached a certain point after the angels had helped them, and they gave them a command, and that command was, please do not look back. That was an instruction. So they reached somewhere. Lot's wife was, of course, starting to drag behind, and unfortunately for the family, the mother looked back. The mother to the two girls and the wife to Lot looked back. And the consequence for that was that she had to become a pillar of salt. Whoever was to look back was to become a pillar of salt. So this is where basically I pick a short message from. The message is don't look back. My message here is, there are times God grants us grace and favor, and he gets us out of circumstances that we really did not deserve, were not deserving to come out of. But because of his grace, he sends people, circumstances, everything works in our favor to save us. But sometimes we get so comfortable and we forget where we came from, and we start desiring, even just the fact of thinking and trying to remember the past moments that almost killed you, and that's already a relapse, and you go back, that is dangerous. Of course, that leads to destruction. Anytime you turn back into something that was destructive, it is so terrible because you may not really have a second chance to come out. Chance comes once. So some people really have many chances, but still you can never be sure which is your last chance. So sin itself is such a thing. There are people who have been saved from things like addiction, people who have been saved from things like stealing, murders, maybe you were once in prison, you were released, and all those things, you've survived, you've got a second chance at life. When God grants you a second chance at life, my request here is, please follow the Spirit of God and always move forward. Always follow God and look up to him. Look to him. Don't turn back, because in front of you is God, behind you is Satan. So the moment you turn backwards into your past life, into your past destructive lifestyle, you may not really have the second chance to come out this time. So the wisdom here is, let us continue to walk in God. Let us try not to backslide. Let us continue to have the same urge and zeal for God, not to lose the fire and start feeling comfortable and start feeling like you can, compromise. That's all risky. As God tells us, we have to continue looking forward and we forget the behind. So before us is the cross of Jesus, behind us is the world which we should leave behind. As Romans chapter 12 verse 2 says, Do not be conformed by the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, and then you will know what God's will is, His good and perfect will for your life. So keep moving forward and you'll never be disappointed. May God bless you. Till next time, bye-bye.